Hello dear students, and hello to everyone who is watching this video. Welcome to the video lecture series on Python programming. Today we are going to start the first lecture, that is Introduction to Programming. Before starting, I want to tell you the aim of making this video lecture series. The aim and the goal of making this video lecture series is to make the programming as easy as possible for you and to break the complex concept in programming into simple and easy to understand topic. Also, I will try to provide everything that you need in single place so that you can focus on learning. Also, I want to tell that after this video lecture series is over, which is of the Python programming, we will also start the video lecture series on data science and machine learning. Let us start this topic on introduction to programming and let us see what is the learning outcome of this video. By the end of this video, you will be able to understand and explain what is programming, why it is used, what are different types of programming languages, and why there are so many programming languages available. What is the history of programming language from 1940s to 2025. We will also see the different types of programming language. One is called high level programming language, one is called low level programming language, and what are their subtypes. We will also see how the codes get executed exactly. What is the role of compilers, assemblers, and interpreters. Also, at the end, we will see why Python is one of the most popular programming language. So, what is programming? So, programming is a way to give instructions to a computer. We can understand this by a simple example of talking with your friend. For example, if you want to talk to your friend, you want to talk to your friend, you want to give instructions to your friend, right? Similarly, if you want to talk to computer or you want to give instructions to the computer, then we give instruction or we write code for the computer. So when you communicate with your friend, it is called talking or communication, right? When you give instructions to the computer, this process is called programming. You can relate it with talking to your friend. So how you talk with your friend? We talk with our friend by using different languages. In India there are 15 official languages like English, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Gujarati, Bengali, etc. These are different language by which the communication can happen. Similarly, if you want to communicate with the computer, we also have to use language, but the language is called programming language. The example of programming language is like Python, C, C++, Java, etc. These are the programming language by which we can give instructions to the computer. What is the use of programming? Programming is used to solve the problems for us. By using programming, we can do some of the operations. We can create softwares. We can do the automation. We can also make mobile applications. We can make websites. We can also make games by using programming. In the previous slide, we have seen what is programming, and we have understood that programming is nothing but the way of giving instructions to the computer or writing code for the computer. And how we write? We use language for doing that. That language is called programming language. Here we can see the examples are given. Examples of programming language are Python, C, C++, Java, JavaScript, Kotlin, Swift, R, MATLAB. These are different examples of programming language. So programming language is written in language which is English language. For example, if you want to print one word like hello on the screen, then the instruction for that in C language will be printf hello. So this is the instruction to tell computer to print hello world on the screen. Similarly, if you want to write the same instruction in the Python language, then it will be print hello. So here we can see the language with which we are writing, it is very similar to the English language. By looking at the instruction, we can easily understand what operation is going to happen. So the output of these two instructions will be hello will be printed on the screen. So what is programming language? It is a specific human readable way of telling a computer what to do. So it follow proper syntax. Syntax means what? It is a grammar. So here we can see in the C language we have written F extra and we have written semicolon. Similarly here we can see there is no need of writing F and semicolon here. So this is called the grammar of writing the program. This is called syntax. One more thing to remember is that computer only understands the language which is written in zeros and one form. So that language is called binary language. That language is called binary language or binary code. It is also called as machine code, machine language or machine code. For example, if you want to write this will not be able this will not be understood by the computer unless we convert that into a code which is written in the form of 0 and 1. So this will be converted into code which is written in 0 and 1 form. For example, it is written in this form. The above instruction is written in this form. If it is converted into this binary form, this is called binary code or it is called machine code. So once it is converted, then only the computer will be able to execute it and run it, right? So there will be one software which will be used to convert this. So what happens whenever we write a code in one of the language, it will get converted into a machine code or the binary code which is understood by the machine or the processor. Then only it will get executed. Now the question may come, then why there are so many programming language? The reason is that a single programming language cannot do all the tasks. It cannot perform all the operations that we want to solve. So every language has some advantages and some limitations. So if you want to do different work, then you have to use different language to do different works. For example, if you want to do system level programming, then there will be different language which will suit this type of operation. If you want to do web development, you want to make websites, then there will be some different set of languages that will do it better. If you want to do numerical and scientific computing, there will be different set of languages which are specifically made for this type of operation. If you want to perform data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, there are some popular languages which do it better. If you want to do mobile development, you want to make mobile applications, then there are different languages that are available. Now here we can see the different applications or the domains or the use cases. So system level programming, if you want to do, you want to make operating system, you want to do hardware control, then you can use C language, you can use assembly language or C++ language, which is better suited for that type of application. If you want to do web development, Java, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, these are the language which are popularly used. If you want to do scientific and numerical calculation, Fortran and MATLAB is there. For data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, Python and R are very popular. For mobile development, we have Swift, Kotlin, also Java, JavaScript are also there. Let us see the history of programming language. In 1940s, there was only a single language which was called machine language or binary code. So all the instructions were written in the form of 0 and 1. So it was written in the sequence of 0 and 1. For example, if you want to tell computer to perform add operation, then add cannot be written directly to the computer. So they used to write the instruction in the form of 0 and 1. For example, add is written in this way: 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 0. Let's say this is the add instruction written in binary code or the machine code. So this is how the instruction were written. For example, if you want to perform the addition of two numbers 4 and 5, so 4 is written in binary as 0 1 0 0, 5 is written in binary as 0 1 0 1, and add operation, here we can see, assume it is written in this way. So when you give this code to the computer, then computer will understand that you want to perform add operation on these two numbers 0 4 and 0 5. So if you write this complete sequence, then the computer were able to understand that we want to perform the add operation, and it will add the two numbers 0 4 and 0 5. Now we can note one thing, that it is difficult to remember these instructions because there we are writing the sequence of 0 and 1, which is not easy to remember. That is why at that time the scientists used to carry the manuals where there was instruction and its respective binary code was written or the machine code was written. So they used to have the manuals. Then in 1950s, assembly language were introduced. In that language, we can see we started using such type of words: add, sub, move. These are called the instructions, which are called the mnemonics. So it tells the computer what to do. So here add operation is written as ADD. It is somewhat English, so it is easy to remember add instead of remembering this. If you want to do subtraction, it is easy to remember SUB, to tell the computer to subtract. If you want to move one data from one location to another location, it is easy to remember MOV, for moving the operation. If you want to understand this operation, we can take one example, which is Intel 8086, which was introduced in year around 1976. So the assembly code is specific to a processor or the hardware architecture or the processor architecture. So for one processor will have its own assembly code. Now in 8086, it has registers inside this. Registers are the memory elements where we can store the elements or the values. For example, AH is one of the register, AL is one register, BH is one of the register, BL is second register, CH is one of the register, CL is one of the register. Similarly, DH and DL, these are the different registers that are there. Now if you want to do some operation on the numbers, what we can do, we can store that number into one of the registers. For example, we can store 04 in AL register, we can store 07 in AH register, or we can store the larger data in combination of these two registers. If you combine these two registers, we can store the bigger number. We can store CL can have, let's say 1 2, right? Similarly, it has a 1 MB memory. 8086 processor has memory which is 1 MB, right? Now let us see how to move 04 into AL register. So instruction for that will be simple: MOV AL, 04. So what it will do, it will move the 4 value into the AL register. So the AL register will store the value 04. Now let us perform this operation, above operation, addition of 0 and 5. So if you want to add two numbers 4 and 5, so what we will do, we will move one number into the one of the register. Here we are moving 04 into AL, so AL has 4. Now to add 5, what we will do, we will write the instruction of addition, that is add AL, 05. So what it will do, it will add to the value which is there in the AL register. So AL currently have 04. Now 5 will be added and the result will be again stored into the AL. So 4 plus 5, we get 9. So the result which is stored in the register will be 9. So now 9 is stored in AL. which is the addition of 4 and 5. That is how the addition is done. One more thing, if you want to add or if you want to store this value into the memory location, this is the 1 MB memory location, and assume that this block represent a memory location in the 8086 processor, and the address of this is, for example, 3020 is the address of that memory location. There are memory locations, in that each memory location has some address. So this particular memory location has address 3020, for example. Then how can we move this 09 to this position? We will simply write MOV move to the location 3020, the value which is there in AL. So the 9 value which is there in the AL register will get stored into the 3020 memory location. So here we will get 09. So this is how the coding was done in assembly code. Next is Fortran language. So it became again very popular because it is the first high level language. So high level language is written in a language which is English, and it is easy to remember that language. It is easy to learn that language, and by looking at the instruction we can tell what operation is going on. For example, we have seen the example of printf in the C language. We have seen the example of print. So it is easy to remember and learn. That is why it became popular, because it is easy to learn and remember. One more thing, we started using variables. So if you want to store the value 0405, we can directly use variables. A equal to 04. So A is variable, not a register of the microprocessor. So B equal to 05. We can do the addition. C equal to A plus B. So C will store the value of A and B, which is 04 and 05. So addition is 9, which is there in the C variable. Now if you want to print that, we can write print star 0C. So it will print the C value onto the screen. So that is how the Fortran language was written. COBOL was introduced in 1960s. It became popular due to the ability to do or ability to process large amount of data. So the institutes started using this, like banks which use large amount of data, or other institutes like government started using this language because it can work on data, it can handle data, it can process the data. So it is used to process and handle data, right? That is why it became very popular. But here the Fortran language that we have seen, it was used for numerical calculation only, numerical or scientific calculation. For that it became very popular. But for data related operations, the COBOL language became very popular. Next language was C language. It became very popular because of efficiency and flexibility of the language. We can do system level programming, like we can make operating system by using this, we can make compilers, or we can write instructions which can control the hardware directly. So it was a high level language. Along with that, it was efficient in doing the hardware control. High level language as well as hardware control was possible to do, as well as it was fast as compared to previous languages, and it was easy to remember also. That is why it became very popular. Now in 1980s we had C++ language, then we have Java, Python and so on. But remember one thing, all the languages C++, Java, these are made from the language which is C. That is why that was one of the reason why it became so popular, because it is used to make more advanced language. Now about C++, it is first object oriented programming language. So object oriented programming language is in short written as OOP. So it introduced the concept of classes, objects, inheritance, polymorphism, etc. And it was the fastest language, and it is even faster as compared to the advanced language like Java, Python It is faster than this language nowadays also. Now, to understand this logic or this concept of classes, object and inheritance, we can take one example of which is real world example. Like on earth there are different species. On earth there are different species. We will take example of two species. For example, we take tiger as one of the species. We take fish as another species which is there on earth. So fish and tiger have their own features. They have their own features. What are the features of tiger? They have 4 legs, 1 tail, sharp teeth. These are the features of tiger. What are features of fish? They have fins so that they can swim. They have gills so that they can breathe in water. What are the functions that it can do? What it can do or ability to do? Tiger can run on land, it can breathe in air and so on. Similarly for fish, it can swim, it can breathe in water. These are features and functions. Features means what? The property of that, and function means what it can do. So assume that one tiger is born, a tiger baby is born. So when tiger is born, we know that it will have all the features and functions of this tiger species. It will inherit the property and functions, property and all that things of the tiger. Like it can have it can breathe in air, it can run, it can do all the things that tiger can do. Similarly, if a fish baby is born, then it has the all the features and properties of the fish species. So it inherit by default. So it will have fins, it will have gills, it will be able to swim, it will be able to breathe under the water, in the water. So this this inheritance, this property that they inherit, this is by default. So they automatically get these properties. This is called inheritance. Are you getting? This is called inheritance. Similarly, if you relate it with the programming term, then in programming we can relate it with the classes. Like we have int class, we have string class. So int are the integers, like numbers. These are numbers. For example, 23, 75, 10, 20. These are example of numbers. These are integers. String is like words or letters. For example, A is a string, hello is a string, earth is a string, right? So they are different from each other. Integer is different from string, right? And they have different properties, right? So if you want to write the properties or features, we can write that as features, or we call that as attributes. Similarly, there are attributes for string also. There are some functions which is also called methods. Like we can perform addition operation of this, we can perform subtraction addition, we can perform multiplication operation and so on. But it is not possible to do with the string, but we can make sentences, okay? We can print messages by using this. So that is the methods or the functions of this, right? So whenever we create a object, whenever we create a, let's say, integer variable, I int x, x is the integer variable. So whenever we create it, so automatically it will inherit all the property and functions of this. So this is called inheritance, like we have seen for the two species, tiger and fish. Similarly, if we write character A, So it means what? It is a character. So it is having the features and properties and functions which is already defined for the string class. So it will automatically be applicable to this. So with x we can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, all that things, because it is of the integer class. If we make this variable a, so it will be automatically able to do whatever is written for this. Whatever is there for string, it is automatically becoming the property of this character a. So that is called inheritance. Now this tiger, which is a newborn tiger, which is one of the species of tiger species, then this is called object in programming term. So it is object of the tiger species. Similarly, this newborn fish is object for this fish species. Similarly, this x is called object of integer class. Object of integer class. So a is object of string class. So whatever variable we create in programming, it will be part of one of the class, right? So that is, so everything whatever we create in programming, in object oriented programming language, everything will be object of one or other class. That is your object oriented programming language. Then in 1990s we have Java. So Java is portable across different platforms, so it is platform independent. So platform independent means what? There are different platforms, operating systems, like iOS is one of the platform, Windows is one of the platform, Linux is one of the platform, right? So if you write any code in Java, right, so it will be able to run into different operating systems like iOS, Windows and Linux. In other languages like C, C++, what happens? Whenever that code is written, it will get converted into machine code or binary code, which is specific to that hardware, right? So it is directly converted into machine code, which is specific, on which that code was executed by using some of the softwares, right? But here it is platform independent, because whatever, when you run this code, what happens? It will be converted into byte file or byte code. In all the operating system we have a software installed which is called JVM. JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. So this JVM on iOS will do what? It will take the byte code and it will convert it into the machine code, which is specific to the hardware on which iOS is working. Similarly, JVM running on the Windows will convert it into byte code, which is specific to the hardware or the processor which is on which the Windows is running. Similarly for the Linux. So here we can see the Java code is not directly converted into machine code, but it is converted into byte code. Now this byte code will go to the JVM software which is installed on different operating systems. Now after that, that JVM will be responsible to convert it into machine code specific to that hardware. That is why it became platform independent. That is why it became very popular. And the advantages or the applications of that in nowadays are to make like websites and GUI applications or any mobile applications. Now after that, in 1991 the Python language was introduced, and around after 2008 or 10 it became very popular due to the advancement in the field like data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. And why it is so popular? Because it is easy to learn because of the simple syntax, and there is large community which are building different packages and modules. By using that package and modules we can do the coding easily as compared to the other language. Here you don't have to write code, you directly import the module, you take the functions which are defined inside that module and you start using it. But in other languages you have to write it by yourself. So that is the history of programming language. Nowadays the focus is on IA, artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning and web development. Let us see the types of computer language or the programming language. There are two types, high level language and low level language. Low level language can again be categorized into two types, machine level language and assembly level language. So high level language is very widely used because of the reason that it is easy for humans to understand and learn, because it is very similar to English language. The language which we are writing it, it is very near to English language. And nowadays all the applications, all the softwares, all the operating systems that are there are made by using this high level language. Examples are C, C++, Java, Python, PHP, Pascal, etc. Now the second type is low level language. In that we have the assembly level language. So it is mainly used for doing the low level programming or making device drivers. But for using this we should have the knowledge of the device architecture or the computer architecture or the processor architecture, then only it can be done. Now machine language is not used nowadays because we know it is nothing but the sequence of binary digits. So it is very difficult to remember, that is why it is not used nowadays. So assembly level language is used in limited applications, but for large applications we see the high level language are used. In the previous slide we have seen the types of languages. It is high level language and low level language. In low level language we have seen assembly code in the form which is written in symbols like mnemonics, add, subtract, move, and low level language is again machine code which is written in the form of 1 and zeros. Right? Now how this code get executed? So one thing to remember is that whatever code we write in any of the language like Python, C, C++, Java, that code, the instructions are called source code or simply code. So in high level language we write code. That code is to be converted into machine code because we know computer understand only binary language or the machine language. So here you have the machine code in the form of 0 and 1s. Now this conversion is done by different softwares. These softwares are compilers, assemblers and interpreters. So there are some softwares which uses compilers to convert the code into assembly code, and this assembly code is converted into machine code by using a software which is called assembler. So compiler is the software which convert code written in high level into assembly code, and assembler is the second software which convert the assembly code into the machine code. And the code and the language which use compilers are like Java, C++, etc. These are the language, and some languages are there like Python, JavaScript. It uses interpreter to convert it into machine code. It uses interpreter. So what it does, it directly convert the code written in high level language in Python language or JavaScript language directly into the machine code without converting it into the intermediate code which is assembly code. So that is the difference between these languages. So the language which use compiler are called compiled programming language, and the language which use interpreter are called interpreted programming language. Here we can see the high level language which use compiler is called compiled programming language, and those language which use interpreter are known as interpreted programming language. Now we understood the use of compilers and assemblers and interpreters. Let us see the example. Compilers which convert high level code into machine code. These are called compilers. In advanced compilers, what happens? The high level code is nowadays some of the compilers also convert directly it into machine code. The examples are GCC, CLang, Java compiler, etc. Assemblers which convert the mnemonics or the symbols written in assembly code into machine code. These are called assemblers, and the examples are NASM and MESM. Interpreters convert high level code line by line into machine code. These examples are C, Python and Node.js. In this slide we will see the process of compiled language and the interpreted language. C, C++ and Java are the languages which are compiled language because they use compiler. The code written in high level is converted into assembly code by using compiler software. Then this assembly code is converted into machine code by assembler software. Then once it is ready, it is directly executed by the hardware. So here all the code which is written is converted into machine code once, right? But in the interpreted language like Python and JavaScript, the code which is written is executed line by line by the software which is interpreter. So it convert it line by line into the machine code and directly execute it. So it doesn't save the machine code there, and it is doing it line by line. So that is the difference between these two. Let us see why Python is so popular nowadays. The first reason is the Python is very easy to learn and understand because of its simple syntax. It is nowadays used in the technologies or the fields which are booming nowadays. The fields are like web development, data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and it has a large community who are building libraries or modules by which we can import different functions and perform our operation. In the previous years, in 2021 and 2022, we can see the Python is the most popular language, and the top 3 to 4 languages are Python, Java, JavaScript, C and C++. Let us see the quick recap of what we have seen. We have seen what is programming. It is the process of giving instructions to the computer or writing code for the computer. What is programming language? It is a tool by which we can write the code for the computer. It is a bridge between human ideas and the machine operations. We have seen the history of the programming language. We have seen the types of programming language, that is high level language and low level language. We have seen the tools and softwares which is used to convert high level language into machine level language by using compilers, assemblers and interpreters. We have seen why Python stands out as the popular language due to its ease of use, flexibility and wide range of applications. Thank you for watching this first video in the Python programming video lecture series. I have tried to cover many topics and concepts which is possible to cover in a single video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please give it a like, share it with someone who might benefit, and let me know your thoughts or questions in the comments below. In the next video, we are going to see Introduction to Python Programming. See you in the next video.